Toxic metals such as lead have a huge impact on natural water. Through the production of certain chemicals and industrial use, heavy metals may seep into our environment, and there have been cases where heavy metals have been found in fish, animal-based products, and drinking water. Our materials for this lab were lead 2 nitrate, sodium sulfide, pond water, distilled water, drinking water, various sized beakers, scale, and pH strips.
We poured 200 milliliters of water into beaker A and tested its neutrality with litmus paper. We then added 4 grams of lead 2 nitrate into another beaker. We crushed the lead 2 nitrate and poured it into beaker A.
We made sure the lead 2 nitrate was completely dissolved in beaker A and tested for the pH. Initially, we tried to use a stirring rod to crush the sodium sulfide, but it failed, so instead we used the mortar and pestle. We then added 100 milliliters of water with 5 grams of sodium sulfide and labeled it beaker B.
We then mixed the sodium sulfide thoroughly to make sure that it completely dissolved in the water and tested the pH. We then combined beaker A and beaker B into beaker C, and a precipitate formed.
A precipitate formed from sodium sulfide and lead 2 nitrate. The precipitate was lead sulfide.
We tested the pH of solution in beaker C, and while we were testing it, it was obvious that the precipitate was settling to the bottom.
All the precipitate settled to the bottom after 5 minutes.
We then gathered pond water and drinking water from the fountain to test for lead in both the water samples.
We then added sodium sulfide into both the water samples to test if there was lead, but it was clear that there was no lead in both. After emptying the samples into the wastebasket, you can clearly see that the precipitate was formed.
As proved in the lab experiment, lead can dissolve in water invisibly and can contaminate water sources. Water pollution is significant because it affects plants and organisms that are in contact with the water. Main sources of water pollution include organic and inorganic contaminants such as petroleum, herbicides, detergent, silt, fertilizers, and trash. A common source of water pollution is lead contamination, which has severe repercussions if ingested by biological organisms. Heavy metal contamination in water can result in lead poisoning, which is a steadily rising cause of many fish and bird deaths. Higher concentrations of lead negatively impact plant growth and can severely damage affected areas. This experiment allowed us to clearly see the impact of metals in water.